Last night we had the discourse where Lakshmi Devi is taking the form of Tulsi Mata. And in it we heard why, for the Hindu that is now hearing this discourse for the first time, why does she become a plant? The correlation and the interaction taken from Brahm Vaivat Puran was touched, where she and Ganesh Baba end up fighting. They both give each other shrap, and for this reason, she's not involved in his worship. However, because of her shrap, Ganesh Baba gets married to Riddhi and Siddhi, and he becomes the Devta, the Pradhan Devta for all weddings. We touched on the fact that when we are blessing wedding ring, Mangal Sutra, and other items for the wedding, that his name and his mantra is utilized and is integral. For this reason, a simple example, when you receive most wedding cards, isn't Ganesh or an elephant head or something relating to Ganapati on that card. And it was because of how Tulsi felt about marriage. She was taught by her mother that in doing her duty as a wife, honestly, with integrity, with chastity, that she would find God. And Ganesh Baba was saying that marriage was bad. And she ties him to all wedding thereafter. Then we heard about her husband. They met, they got married. The guy feels he could do whatever he wants because she's praying so strong. He's protected by her prayer. And then eventually he gets so brazen that Lord Shiva himself comes to fight. Kali Mata fights, Bhadrakali, etc. Different forms end up on that battlefield. But it is only when Lord Vishnu takes the form of, let's say, fake husband. He assumes the form of a husband to go and distract Tulsi from her prayer. When that distraction occurred and she stopped praying, in that moment, simultaneously, the husband is destroyed on the battlefield. Then the last part, after the whole shrap about you are cold as a stone, dear God, she says to him, I prayed my whole life to get a husband, to get a good husband. Now I got my husband, and this is what you will do? You are cold as stone. Go and take the form of a stone upon you. So he accepts the shrap, and he says, I will go in the Gandaki river on the earth, and I will take the form of what we call Shaligram. Last night we had the Sudarshan Shaligram here, and everybody got an opportunity to touch it and bow to it. Some people came and they washed the Shaligram and they got that water. After that moment, he said that if wherever my stone, wherever my form in that Shaligram is being kept, we still have some seats to the front there. Wherever you, in the form of the Tulsi plant, you are going to be integral in my worship. It would be incomplete to worship the Shaligram without the Tulsi. Then he leaves her and he goes where the body of the dead husband, Sankhya, where he is. And Lord Shiva is there. Now they are celebrating, they're dancing on the battlefield, and they're about to throw the body in the fire. Lord Vishnu says, no, throw that body into the water and allow from the bone and the bone marrow of Shankachur, that things like the shank or the sank come, all this shell life. So last night we had the normal sank that Pundit was blowing, and in addition we had something called the Lakshmi sank, the sank that has the left and the right turn, and we were able to look at the difference. Everybody got to touch it, bow to it. Some people got water from this Lakshmi and they took it home to be used for different purposes. Tonight we move forward to discuss just a little bit about something that everybody knows about, and yet still there's so much of muddy points, so much of confusion over it, that some people just decide not to do this type of worship. Have you ever heard of D Puja? Dharti Puja, Prithvi Puja, Bhumi Puja? I don't know. I heard some people offer this, I heard some people offer that, I heard some people. A lot of scary things happen when it comes to that type of prayer. So a lot of people say, you know what, I don't feel I I subscribe to that prayer. I don't believe I agree with that prayer. And I'm telling you now, as we get into it tonight, you will see where the Hindu is absorbing other people's culture again. And it will show why there's a little confusion when it comes at least to this dirty puja. Before we go into the chapter that deals with that mother, as we have embarked on this yagna, learning the various forms of Shakti, mother, in various discourses, her name, her forms, her mantras, night after night we're learning different mantras and the purpose for these different forms. Such as when we did with the child with Shashti, when we did with Nagin, with Manas Devi. What is the benefit, Saraswati Mata, what is the benefit of that kavach, the protective form of these mothers? And we remember, we only did one kavach. Last night in discourse, when in order for Shankachod, the husband of Tulsi Mata, to be destroyed, they have to take the Christian kavach off his neck. They have to get him to take off his guard and give it away. And then he's able to be destroyed. Tonight we'll listen to about a discourse that deals with a different mother for the benefit of all. Narad Muni, in this chapter before that form is discussed, he says, Prabhu, could you tell me about what is Kalyuk? Could you describe to me what is going to happen? Because I've been listening and I've heard that Ganga will come, Saraswati will come, I've heard that Lakshmi will come upon the earth. I've heard so much of different Devis that are there. How could the Kalyuk be bad? How could the Kalyug be in any way reduced in terms of the Shakti, in terms of the amount of blessing and benefit? What will life be like? What will prayer be like? What will food be like? Etc. And what does a person do in Kalyug when they're going through these type of trouble? Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. As people are still coming in, devotees, please assist them and get in a seat. Allow them to have a seat, please. Let's all clasp our hands as we do Devi Bhagavad Sumiran. For the person that has been asking night after night questions, I know there are a few of you that asked about the Puja. This is a wonderful discourse. It will clarify many doubts. This is one of the reasons why I said there's no such thing as a stupid question. When you have the right mindset that I would like to know more about my God, my mother and my Dharma. If a person is at a different level, Mother, help us tonight to bring up that individual. This is our goal. Let's sing together, everybody. Pray to the feet of Gauri and Shambhu. Gauri Mata, tonight we bow to you, Mother. Govind, may you please allow us to have the darshan, to listen to your discourse, Prabhu. Please open my mind and my heart. Allow my mind to stop thinking about other things now. Allow my breathing, allow my focus to be on you. And as these passages are about to be related, allow me to be sattvic. Allow me to be pure. Allow me to be clean. So that, Mother, you can walk into my body. Mother, so that you can come into me in the form of the knowledge that I'm about to learn. Mari Baba, please allow it to happen. Gauri Shambho Gira Guru Govinda Ganapati Gang Sumire Vyasa Vasha Karta Devi Katha Prasang Jasudeha mati mati vishya siddhi dajo jagama mati nali gada jahi rupa ko mati prira kadya Sakhala nigama uttam samani Prilekha jagavan Matu bhavani ke charana Namo namatu kakam Shri Shankaracharya Aru Mata Pita Shiranai Devi Bhagavad Grantha Ke Bhasha Likat Banai. Everybody. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti. Everybody.
Namaste, 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 namo namah.
Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Dhyarupena Samsita. Everybody,
Namaste,
lift your voice and pray to Mother.
Namaste, namo namah.
Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Vastu Rupena Samsita. Namaste. Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samsita.
Namaste, 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 namo namah.
Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Kranti Rupena Samsita. Namaste, 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 namo namah. Prem se bolo Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki. Lord Vishnu says, Narad, there will be great things on this earth. And then in that Kalyuk, in that time, things are going to start to change, things are going to start to diminish. At the beginning of Kalyuk, when does Kalyuk begin? When Krishna departs this world, leaned against a peepal tree. This is taken from Bhagavad discourse. When he sends message to Arjun that I am no more, please take care of the ladies and the children of Dwarka. All the male members of his family, he had to destroy them. So they got into a little argument, and by his Maya, he allowed all of them to fight one another, killing the last of all the people that had become haughty upon the earth. Mother took a form of a cow to go and rid the earth. She needs help. Mother Earth goes and she begs, may you please come and do me the service and the seva of ridding this earth of all these people that are filled with bad. And he does come. And he destroys from Kans. Last night we talked about Radha and Krishna giving her the flute when he goes to fight Kans. Krishna destroys all the lineage, all the dynasty of those people that were filled with arrogance and pride and false pride. People that was filled with so much animosity that they caused trouble upon the earth. But you know, there's something in that statement, in that discourse, that bothers people. I don't know if you know it. People say Mother Earth was overburdened. She was overburdened. Have you ever heard that? She was overwhelmed. Very strange thing to say. Tonight you'll understand why. She goes and she begs in the form of the cow. And Lord Vishnu comes as Krishna. And when he was ready to leave the earth, when he gets this signal, it's time to go. He says, Balaram, it is time for me now to destroy our family. Krishna has a son by the name of Samba. And that son is very proud, very vile. When we do Surya Narayan Puja, that same Krishna has to give his son a shrap because he's so full of himself. He feels he's too good looking. And Krishna makes his own son riddled with leprosy. All types of disease, sickness come upon him. And Narad Muni, he self-guides him. He says, you don't worry. Follow. Look at that people to the back and they're looking for chair. Look, help them now. Please. Offer them a chair to the front. Will we use the feeding table? He says, son, your pride is the cause of your problem. But if you go and you worship Surya Narayan Swami, you will get the help that you're looking for. Samba is the first person to worship Surya. Just as we've been listening night after night about different mantras to Devi in Manas form, Shashti form, etc. There's an entire text called the Samba Puran that explains, if I ask you tonight, just to touch the topic, how do you offer a dar on a Sunday morning? Have you ever seen in your documentaries, you see in India people are standing in Ganga Mata to their waists and they're offering tarpan facing the sun? Handfuls of water like this. Have you ever seen somebody hold a lota of, let me call it dar, arg, but water or milk, red flowers, over their head, so that when they tip forward and it is falling like a curtain now between them and the sun in the east, the prayer says, Surya Dev, please penetrate this curtain of prayer, this offering that I am making, and burn my body. The sickness, the trouble, the mental problem, whatever it is, please burn it away. That son of Krishna does that. But he causes the downfall because of their arrogance. He thinks to himself now, the same fact, if you interfere with me, my uncle, my daddy is Christian and we will destroy you. And they start to do things to people that are not right. And the same people that were once the solution, they became the problem. So Krishna says, I will make it happen so that they will fight one another and they will destroy one another. But who will gain? Mother Earth at the end of the story, she will gain. Kalyuk started with that fight. Kalyuk begins when Krishna leaves. And he says, the Sudarshan Chakra, the chariot, nothing that is his could remain on the earth. So when before his body starts to leave, just before he starts to float off into the atmosphere, Jara and all the others that are there witnessing the moment when the soul, when his body, that Paramatma is about to float off, they see the chariot lift off and go. How does he pass? One explanation says that when Sri Ram hid in the bushes to shoot Bali, the brother of Sugriv, that Bali was born back as a hunter, Dirk, hiding in the bushes now, using a blessed arrow, an arrow that was given a shrap against the members of Krishna's family. And that same person now lets loose an arrow that connects Krishna in his ankle. But because of the power of that karma, Krishna does not move the arrow. Because of the power of the shrap, Krishna doesn't move the arrow. And he starts to bleed profusely. And the peepal tree is that tree he was leaning on, and the blood is forming a puddle. Imagine the blood. and the tree starts to pull the blood. For this reason, that peepal tree is worshipped till this day. When ladies are praying for their husband, when they have problems to get married, when the wedding date is set, where do you go and tie strings? On the peepal tree. Christian, his power, he lives there. Christian, please bless me, please bless my family, please bless my husband. When people have shani gra and they go there, they go and they pray under that peepal tree. And they get different types of benefit. When people are going to do Manas Devi Puja or Nagin, because of the fruit of that tree, when you watch up in a peepal tree, sometimes don't be surprised you see snake. Snake lives inside peepal tree. When it is big, the eyes start to get hollow. And for some reason, mother comes to live inside there. When people are doing Nag Panchmi in different parts in Trinidad, you will see snakes start to crawl out from the peepal tree, drink the milk and go back in the tree. When you watch up in the tree, you will see them plat on the branches of that tree. And when different type of puja, when different type of Mahadev prayers being done, they come. That peepal tree, the wood is used as one of the 9 wood in Gra Puja. The root is used in funeral. It is used in Bandara as something that has to be burnt in order for the prayer to be complete. And it is all because of Lord Krishna. He says, when this age came, he says, please listen. The mother is there on the earth still trying to help those that are in the Kalyuk. Mother is there. She's there in the various forms, protecting her children. Let's join together tonight as we enter into this part of Devi Bhagavad. Still, I am reading from book 9. Now, chapter 8. Let's go. As he describes some parts of what is called Kalyuk. Hari Om Shiva Om Shakti Om Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Saraswati Punya Kaye Janma Bharat Ganga Khalade Padye Padye Ghayatam Brahma Priya Saraswati Ate. Everybody, let's sing together. You have listened when Saraswati gives the shrap, Ganga will remain upon the earth in Kalyuk. Mother Lakshmi will be there as the Gandaki river, the river that is holding all the shaligram. And secondly, that form called the Tulsi plant. Saraswati herself, that mother will take the form of a river and remain. Mahavishnu will be in the form of the shaligram and he will be there on the earth. Ganga Mata will be there helping those sinners, those people that have problems, that have sickness, that have trouble. If a person would just go and do worship in the age of Kalyuk, Ganga Mata will still be there to purify such a person. Padmavati, a different name for Lakshmi Mata, she's there. But what is the problem? The problem is the person in Kalyuk. The person is the problem, not the environment. Tulsi Mata will be there, the daughter of Dharma, she'll be there. She'll be there to remove the troubles when a person is living away from Bindravan, the home of Govardhan, the place that if a person should circumambulate, different types of sin is going to be burnt away. If a person should just walk around their Tulsi plant, but in the age of Kalyuk, that Tulsi plant will not want to grow in every place. It is actually a sign of positive measures, positive people, positive place. And for this reason, where it grows, those people may not respect her as she should be respected. In Kalyuk, mother will be there, but she will be abandoned. She will be neglected. She will be given and forgotten. She will be neglected by all, male, female, all, sect, all. There will be the devotees of Shiva, the devotees of Mother, the devotees of Ganesh, the devotees of Vishnu Bhagwan. There will be the blowing of Sankhya. There will be Shrad, Tarpan. All these knowledge will be there. But what is the problem? The person who does all these types of prayer, these people are doing it for the wrong reason. They do it to help themselves in a negative way. They only want to gain, and as a result the prayer becomes polluted. Let's hear what happened. Let's sing, everybody. Paramatmaya Namo Charita Vedaye Vedam Gram Devrataye Tapasvinat Sardeva Vam Charitra Tara Vamaye Sangyo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. He says there will be no more sadhu, Dharma, the Vedas, these things will fall. In the age of Kalyuk, the worship of the Gram Devata. Gram means village. Village worship, what we were talking the other night, when they are Mangain Bhik, when they are going and they are begging for the whatever little gifts they would use for the worship of the Devata that is guarding the entry of the village. Many people don't understand that. When you go in there in various different villages, the various types of village, you will see Devis standing on the junction. You have a little mandir made for her, and she is the Devata of that village. Everybody would bow, pay homage, etc. before entering or exiting. In our local culture, we put up flags on the junction and we bow to that flag. Did you know that? Do you know the purpose of the flags that we put on the road when we have in Yagna and prayer? To establish or re-establish the Devata that lives in that village. Not only to guide people while the prayers look, follow the flag. Not only that, but to give the Devata, you are the guard, stand up here. You are the person in charge, stand up here and protect our village. That is the purpose of the two that we place on the junction. He says, Narad, in these hard times, people will leave off this type of worship, and what will they become addicted to do? They will do Vamchara type worship. Vamchara type worship. Vama is not Vamdeva. Vamdeva is a form of Lord Vishnu. Vama is a form of Lord Shiva where he has 5 heads. Have you ever seen that? One form of that head is called Vama Dev. Vama Dev is not something we worship. We don't ascribe to that type of puja too often. That is tantric prayer. That is type of prayer that is used for bad, negative. In that type of prayer, you only use your left hand. It is unclean. And the things that you offer in the prayer is unclean as well. meat stuff, human sacrifice, animal sacrifice. But if we read our history about different parts of India, where different parts of the body, the human flesh, the human blood is used, it is there. And it was used because people would worship Lord Shiva in this form. Baba, what are you saying? But didn't Lord Krishna say, offer me a fruit, a drop of water, a leaf? You know the verse. And to be honest, yes, people like to argue. But I know they should offer meat. Yes, it have some people is to do that. Does that mean you will do it? Does that mean you will follow that? The people who do the worship with the left hand, for example, they take the murti of Mahadev Baba and turn him upside down. And in doing the worship, it causes calamity and destruction to the people you're praying against. This was prepared and created so when kings had to go to war, they would fight and destroy the other side. Ravan wanted to do this in Ramayana. And Vibhishan says to Sri Ram, go on interrupt his prayer. Stop him. Because if that is allowed to happen, your side will lose. It is there. It is potent. The question comes, would you follow it? No. I ascribe to Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan meaning true, Dharma meaning the principles, purity of sattvic worship. But if you don't know the true scope of your Dharma, how do you know who you are? I remember we were doing Yag one year and some different religious groups started to print all types of pamphlets that had nasty things about Hinduism. That Sita Mata is raped and she's watched by other people and everybody wants to rape this one and rape that one, and Hinduism allows that. For the duration of this yagna, have you listened and have you heard how we adore the female form? The Shakti, the daughter, the mother, all these forms. What you are supposed to do when we talked about how you clothe, how you dress, how you address a lady, etc. When we talk about right conduct also appealing to women. He says in this time, people will turn and love to speak falsehood and deceit. This one causes a lot of problems. People are no longer straightforward. Straightforward doesn't have to mean you're rough, of course, but it just means you're straightforward. So what if you say what you mean? Nowadays we are surrounded by people that are so insincere. And yeah, you look good in the sari, but in your mind, you're too fat for that. But I can't even tell my wife, you're looking good. Trouble. I cannot say, child, yes, singing good when you sing that song. Trouble. Imagine when it's more serious topics. How people lie to one another. He says that deceit is going to be rampant. Rampant in Kalyuk. He says amongst women, there will be more and more conflict and confusion. In Kalyug, there will be a rise in problems when it comes to the inheritance of the father. Whatever the father has to give, it will be as if the father cannot die fast enough. He cannot give over what is his quick enough. And some of you have life interest in the land, afraid to hand over. One lady told me, she says, Pundit, I'm afraid if I give them everything, they say to relinquish the whole when you're in the third ashram, right? But Baba, suppose they put me out. Suppose they disown me when they get everything. This is Kali Yuga, O Narad. Mother-in-laws and father-in-laws will become servants. Brother's wife will become the manager of your household. Other people will get into your home. People will no longer understand how to receive a guest. Cows will not make milk. And there will be a proliferation of corruption that will affect and infect the life of many, the life of all will be negatively affected because of that corruption, one way or the other. Women and children will be deformed, born with birth defects. Bodies, in case of the women, defective due to childbirth. Things will go wrong with them simply in the course of life. This land will become so heavily taxed that everything will be taxed. Your life will be taxed. The water will be taxed. The land will be taxed. The food will be taxed. Everything in this world will become streamed. The beds of rivers and lakes will become dry. Rain will no longer be as it once was. But it will be as if the cheaters, the liars, the murderers, they are doing well. The height of women and men will start to diminish. People will get shorter and shorter. And with that height getting shorter, you will see people's lives getting shorter and shorter. It says the girl child will be able to become pregnant when she's just 8 years old, as the cycle will start earlier for women. And life will come to a premature close for them as well. He says in this age, people's hair will start to turn gray very early in life. He says Kalyuk is not a nice place, Narad. Let's hear what he says. Hari Om Shiva Om Shakti Om Narayanaya Krishnaya Palani Patina Nasti Brihate Kalyuga Ye Prajana Chaiva Gramna Vasuna Vishwana Alika Sarva Sarva Yena Shradhatam janani ja sarva dischaye Kalyuga. Everybody. Says in Kalyuk, who, listen to this, who is whose wife? The husband, which wife will he belong to? In this age, one husband will have many wives, and one wife will have many husbands. Illegitimate children will be on the rise, bastards will be on the rise. The pitras and the pitris will become downtrodden and will be hurt due to lack of turban, lack of prayer, lack of puja. The value of these things no longer have any value. There's very little value. The value of marriage is gone. The sanctity of chastity and honesty, living an honest life in marriage, that will be out the door. In fact, the only thing that will be very clear is that of property. Marriage becomes a tool to get the property of another individual. In this world, people will be very envious of other people's wives, husbands. They will dribble, as it were, for the spouse of another person. They will throw themselves at other people. This is their behavior. He says, when the yagya is being done, people will not get up and do sandhya. People will not do jap for Gayatri. People will not want to do this. Women, when they are unclean, with all due respect, when they are unclean, they will not refrain from doing the prescribed duties that are there for prayer. Let me read this one and explain this. Evam kalyuk samprataya sarvamelacha bhavitamya hasya prano vrikshayati agama chanda manavi.
Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Hari Om Shiva Om Shakti
Hari Om Shiva Om Shakti Om.
प्रेम से बोलो श्री आदि शक्ति माता की जय. When you think, Baba, we don't have to talk about this one, I'm sorry to say. There are women today that don't know. Maybe it's because the mother them don't teach. I don't know. Last night I mentioned that in Bhagavad Gita it says, when your mother fails, then you're in Kalyuk. There are people still don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done when you're a lady. When you're going through that natural, yes, natural, God-given, monthly menstrual cycle. So for the benefit of all, in case it have anybody confused, when you are in this state, it says in Devi Bhagavad that the person is not supposed to engage in the preparation for prayer. The person is not supposed to meddle in these things. The person is not supposed to be cooking the prasad. Do you know, I went to prayers one day and somebody says, Baba, God made me like this. Do you agree I could make the prasad? What would you say? If this was your house and your prasad and you are faced with this question, what would you do? Please remember, Bhagavad Gita guides again. When you follow the scriptural injunction, that is sattvic prayer. But when you do things for your convenience, that is good for you. Well, Baba, what we going to do? She's the only one who could cook the pumpkin. So however she is, whatever she eat, or whatever is the condition of her body, permit her. Who gonna know? Yeah, how it is go? Sattvic prayer follows the rules. If you are in that way, then you stay away from those things that are going to be offered into prayer. The same applies to men. The same rule applies to men. This is why in the funeral we have 5 guys. If the first guy, the main one as we say, if he happens to get a head cold, son, you shave your head, don't go outside, boy, cover your hair. If you get a head cold and mucus starts to run down the nostril, you are not fit to do the prayer, regardless of who he is. This is why number 2, number 3, 4, and 5 are there as backup. Pull him out and send in another guy. Let him take over. That's the purpose of the 5. Spears. If he goes and he cuts the carry, don't allow him to use any sharp blade. And people will say, we studying stupidness. If he should get cut and his body is leaking blood or inflammation, he is unfit to do the prayer. If he gets diarrhea, son, watch what you're eating. If you get diarrhea, with all due respect, all of these big people, and his body is in a different mode, he's unfit for the prayer. So the same rule, the same rules that apply to female, yes, it applies to male as well. And when in this age, women will want to do everything men do. Women will want to concern themselves with the making of the offering to the Devta, regardless of their condition. Men will want to drink alcohol, fermented juice, is what the book has. fermented wine. And they would want to come and fool the Pundit and others that they are fit for worship. I will touch your hand. I will join with your prayer and turn up and contaminate the entire thing. Do you know how many places used to have Panchowtie Yagna? How many places still have it today? Why is it that when we get together as a group, it is as if we cannot get along? Because not everybody is as disciplined as everybody else. And one person, usually is one person, comes into the midst of all these people trying their best to do prayer, to do goodly and godly things, and causes corruption by the way they talk, by the way they think, or by something they do. Remember the night we was talking about the black tail, the white tail, and the brown tail? Why we put it in the Hawan? For the sins I make via my thoughts, my mouth, or my hands, dear God, forgive me. This is why when Yagya is going on during the day, yes, in the night we have Puja, during the day when they are cleaning their multi, you will see the ladies here, they are burning Gayatri and begging. If anybody here insulted any guests, any audience member, please forgive us. And it starts from me, the Vyas go down to the cook. Everybody asks forgiveness, please forgive me. Don't leave here angry, don't leave here upset, please forgive me. And every day that Gayatri is jap and jagawi to ask for that forgiveness. But in this age of Kalyuk, none of these things will happen. Where will it end, Narad? One day I will come back, and I will come on a white horse, and when I come, I will bring rain. I will bring destruction. The world will be covered in water, and that mother will be freed from the human race. Narad Muni says, Prabhu, between that moment and now, what could a person do? When you're talking about destruction, Prabhu, please tell me, what could we do to help save ourselves from that destruction? What prayer could a person say? He says, so long as the mother is protecting, so long as that lady is happy, children will be happy, and I will be peaceful. Tonight, listen, as we talk about this form of worship called Vasundhara Devi. Technical name, but you know the person. Let's join together. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam.
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 Jai Sam Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam.
Jai Sam Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam.
Naini Mantra Brahman Pralay Pralay Kripa Pralay Patye Kiratam Pralay Prakriti Ye Tatratam Jal Yamunati Vishwayati.
Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. 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 Jai Sam Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jai Sam Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam.
He says it comes a time when mother winks and in the blink of an eye, it is time finishes, all the yoga finish, and it is time to recycle all the energy. When Kalyuk comes to an end, I pull everything back. Mother gives up this form, the earth, Vasundhara. That earth breaks apart into all the elements. Separation occurs, and all the different forms, all the planet, all the different forms of stars, all the constellation, the aspect of time, nothing exists. And when mother is ready again, and I bring forward creation, in the blink of an eye, mother comes back whole, ready to go. By her will and by my wish, mother is reformed. Let's hear what happens. Evam sarvani tirat prithvi tarata ekachi Vishwa deva sarvani kirti mani vai prahalaya tam
Jaya Bole Baba Tav Sharanam 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 Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam
Nitya Jastiti Prahale Kashta Khal Bhairavata Nitya Shashtam Devi Varahi Pujatam Muni Bhir Brita Ye Prahate Jaya Bole Baba Tav Sharanam
Jaya Bole Baba Tav Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tav Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tav Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam
Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Prem se bolo Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Narad Muni, when this mother is made in this way, she is the keeper of her children, and from time to time I must go to help her. One day, there's a conversation between Dharti Mata, Mother Earth, Vasundhara Devi, and Krishna. And in the course of the conversation, Mother makes a statement that once my children have me, once my children have me, they will live, they will prosper, they will be happy. So Lord Krishna says, so they don't need the father, they don't need me. Mother says, no, I am the one who is holding them up. Once they have me, they will subside, they will live, they will get something to eat, they will be good. Let me ask you something here tonight, devotees. If a person came and they say, you know, I notice you Hindu people like to touch the mud. I notice you like to bow to the Bedi when you are doing your offering. I notice you are very barefooted when you go to do your dar. When you're walking, you like to take off your shoes when you're walking into places of Tirat and Hamid. Why? Baba, well, we have the practice when it comes to the Lakshmi that we take off the shoes so that we don't bring in dust into the good. That is something totally different. Krishna says to her, you keep up your children. You alone do it. You lift them up and you hold them. But when they touch you, you take their troubles now. You be their savior. When they come upon you and they have negative energy upon their body, sickness and all forms of difficulty, and they make contact with you when they bow, when they are bare feet, let the negative energy go to the earth and you take that load. Please pay attention to the word load. If you didn't know why it is bow, I remember I was small, I always talk about it. I used to study get hit in my hand. The guy used to bow when I see now with my grandfather to do prayers. And he doing prayers and he touching, bow properly. Bow properly. I used to bow halfway in the middle of space. But I never understood why it's important to touch the foot of the murti or the text or rest my head, make contact. Tonight, understand by the words of Krishna, when your body, if you look at any pitya or any murti and you see the aura, the energy that is around your body and you are filled with negative, I am looking for help and blessing. That negative energy, science children will tell you, cannot be destroyed, but it must go somewhere. If the lota is full with negative and you want to put positive inside you, where will it fit? So in the worship, the person is trying to empty the self. Sindur put on, saffron put on, Bow to the baby, touch the baby. Parasad or fan, you hear Pundit son going, sir. Touch the baby, bow properly, please. Touch. Bow to the ground when you plant the jandi. Why? When my hand make contact with the earth, then and only then the negative energy will flow to the earth, emptying this body, getting ready now for positive energy. Whenever you see me do Hawan or you do prayers at your house, don't you say, okay, pass the smoke over your head now. Fully lota. Put positive energy where there was negative. When the person done the prayer, when they walk out of the mandap, you will hear them say, wow, I feel so light and peaceful. Something changed. What changed is the energy on your body. Some people say Shakti, some people say aura, however you want to call it, know the difference. So when this happened, this is where, go back to the beginning of where Kalyuk is coming. Christian mother is taking the form of the cow to go and beg him because she's overloaded. Everybody is touching Mother Earth and saying, Mother, I am sick, I am fed up. Mother is bandit, is cancer. Mother, take the sickness. Mother, with jarring all the children. You ever see people rub people's womb on the back? When they done rub, you ever see how they just knock out their hand on the wall or the floor when they jarring and they do that? Why do they do that? Mother, you take the trouble. Don't let it stay with me. I'm doing the jarring. Everybody wants the jarring, but nobody knows how to save themselves when they're doing jarring. 1, 2, 3, the person who jarring is getting more sick than the person who they helping. Because poor thing, you know how to help yourself. 1, you have to learn the mantra. 2, yes, you must jog away to open the beads or the city of the prayer. But 3, you must know how to protect yourself and get that off your back. Many pundits end up in the same position because they don't know how to take. When the pundit come by you and he teach you prayer and he give you a mantra, he cheat. What did we cheat? You did not know those prayers. You weren't supposed to know the secrets of your text. But now, by our meeting, you're learning incrementally. Oh, if I put the tulsi leaf in my tongue, God will bless me. If I drink shaligram water, God will bless me. I'm learning, so I'm walking closer to my God. The Baba is taking your trouble. Baba have a child who can't pass exam, no problem, son. Do Vani Mata job, do Saraswati job, and your child will change. Baba having problems in marriage, no problem, son. Do different type of job, and you'll get it. Baba cannot have children, do the job, you'll get it. Do the prayer. There's no other way. When you have negative karma and it manifests in your life, do positive karma, pray for it. But pray correct. Pray correct, and you'll get the help. But the pundit now, when you give him the cedar, this is the part where nobody knows. When you give him the cedar, it is as if he takes your sin. So the Baba ends up in trouble. And if you did not know, when we were talking about don't give the Baba the dal because it does not grow, he takes some of the red bean and some of the lentil from that cedar, and the pundit who knows sits down and he does Gayatri job. Dear God, forgive me, the pundit, for helping that person overcome the problem. Om Bhurva Swatat Savitar Variniam, Gayatri mantra, and throw some of the grain in the fire. When this is done, you'll find, you know what? When I did that prayer, when I gave that pundit that seed, I saw a change in my life. I saw a benefit. I saw a difference because the negative energy went somewhere. Mother now is taking the load, and when she is calling on Krishna, it is because there is so much negative. Understand tonight what that means. The earth is overcome with people who is sick and dying. Trouble, bandit, problems, oppression, suppression, and they are begging somebody. I'm bowing to you tonight. Please help me. When you bow to the earth, that is what you're doing. And she went and she begged them as that crying cow. That is why we worship Gobar, Gauri on the bedi. We leap at the ground because at that moment, because Lakshmi Mata goes in the Gobar. We've discussed this at length. We don't have to go through that again. But the Gobar is something, once you have prayers, if that is not marking the altar, the bedi, Hindu, why would it sleep here for? Lakshmi lives in that Gobar. And if you do not put that Gobar on the bedi, then your bedi is not fit to invite devatas. Whether that prayer is in your home, the temple, the sea, the river, the cowshed, or under the peepal tree, the 6 places we do prayer. It must be marked or demarked with the Gobar, the Lakshmi. Then you could invite Devatas there. This is why go to a funeral. Have you ever seen they place Gobar under the box, on the ground? Pitch, concrete, terrazzo, tile, but they leap in. Lakshmi lives here. In one discourse here now, Narad says, please tell me again. I understand how the earth is created. I understand she takes form. I understand that Brahma, he makes life upon her. But please tell me, why or what could we do to help during this time, this Kalyuk? Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasyai Namastasyai
Namastasyai Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita
Varahe Cha Varishcha Brahman Sangsutye Pura Utve Mahipara Hiranyaksh Ratimat Ye Jalani Dampadya Patre
Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita.
Lord Vishnu said there was once where I took a form called Varaha. That is the, look at your Panchmukh Hanuman Murti. You will see one where he has a boar head, human body. That is one of the incarnation of Lord Vishnu before Ram and Krishna. He says, in that form I had to kill Hiranyaksh. And Mother Earth was pushed from her orbit around the sun. She was pushed lower out of orbit. And it was going to cause destruction. She was going to collide with other forms of spatial bodies, other different forms of, not planets, but smaller things. He says, I put her on the toss of my body and I lifted her up back where she was supposed to be. In our text, they don't say the word space. They talk about mother was, space looks like dark water. And she's plunged into that dark water. It's the poetic language for everybody to understand. But what we are talking about is the movement in space. So deep is our text. So when mother is brought back, she takes a form. And I want to talk about this form because somebody told me this mother wants hog. Please listen. Drishti Varahi Rupayatam Bhagavan Koti Koti Surya Samprabdha Kripa Kritarati Kal Sarva Murti Sama Manohar Ye Ati
Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita.
She takes a form where Varahi, her head is that of a pig or a boar, and the female body is there. So she's matching Varaha. In Trinidad, I've heard that she's in this form because she wants you to offer her a hog. She wants you to offer her life in that form. That is not written. He says she takes his form for my pleasure and my pleasure alone. Where some people say that this form is ugly, mother matches my form for my happiness, and she remains there. And when I saw her take this form, I told her on the day when the house is going to be constructed, when the foundation is going to be laid, when there's going to be Griha Pravesh, or you are going to go into your home for the first time, when the well or the tank or the pond is going to be dug, on the day when the work for the tilling of the soil to plant is going to be done, they will have to worship you, dear Devi. I am so happy with you. I am so happy with you in this form. And Mahavishnu and his consort as husband and wife come together, and for a very long period of time remain together as husband and wife. In the procreative process, she becomes pregnant. Mother Earth is about to have children, and in that form of Varahi, she says to him, my dear husband, let me separate from you. I cannot bear this ecstasy anymore. I cannot bear this togetherness no more. The love that you are showing me is overwhelming. I feel as if I am fainting over and over. And I have this world to tend to. I have all my children to tend to. The season, everything is going out of sync. All forms of mismanagement in the food chain, in the air, in the water, on the earth, all these things are happening. My dear husband, I cannot spend time with you further. Allow me to focus on my children. He says, mother, I accept what you're saying. He says, ask me one more time. Tell me what you can bear and what you cannot bear. She says, I can bear everything. I can bear my children. I can bear the weight of my children. I can bear the load of my children. I can bear the troubles that my children have. But I cannot bear you for long. You are too heavy, Lord. Your form and your forms, your forces are too heavy. Let's hear what she says. Mukta Shataye Hari Rakayate Shivling Shivoham Tataparta Shanga Pradhan Yatraye Ma Yanta Harikate Tata Yagya Sutra
Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samskrita Namastasya 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samskrita.
Please, by your form, I have taken this Varahi, this female boar, and I am willing to do all my work, Prabhu, when you leave this place. If you remain here upon this earth, I will not be able to bear your forms. When people put the following things on the earth, just like that, it causes problems for me. For these reasons, these things, devotees, listen tonight. These things are not done. When a person has a pearl is used in ring and chain to shanti the planet Mercury. When people have different type of problems, you will see them wear pearl on their body. But do not put pearl on mud or earth. It brings problems. It brings arguments in the home. When people have to do Vasudhara Puja. Vasudhara Puja is something where you will see they put gobar on the wall. Vasudhara is a form where all the different gotra, all the different lineage come from. And how do you do his murti? Put gobar on the wall where the kohabar is going to be built. And 7 small seashells is placed in that gobar. And the puja that is done in the kohabar, you worship that form there. When you do the Nandi Moksha before the wedding. When the prayer is finished outside and the 6 pindas are done for the different ancestors. This is the pinda where I said you blend the grapes and the prunes and different things and you make a ball out of it. And these things are offered. The person comes inside the house now and they say, dear God, I worship this form before I get my children married. says, don't put those shells directly on the earth. Those small shells must be held in something. And we as Hindus use the gobar. Shaligram must never be placed on the raw earth. It is always held in something. The lingam, when you are putting in lingam, when you are installing lingam, lingam must be on a pedestal. Notice the lingam itself is never placed gesso on the earth. There's always the stand, the lingi, and the pedestal, that part, it has a discourse with. Mother says only I could hold him in that lingam form. And for that reason, even if you're dealing with a narmada or a swatik lingam, different type, you cannot put it gesso on the earth. Mother says I cannot hold it. And the person who puts this gesso on me, that person will have problems in their home until it is moved. Somebody came last night and they were saying, Baba, I have so and so problem. Sometimes you could be causing your own problems by doing these types of things. By placing them. You want religious things, Baba, I want Lakshmi Sangh, I want Shaligram, but you cannot live the life. You cannot have it properly in your home. That same entity, that same God could cause trouble in your home if not respected or treated with regard. The person who has the image of the Devi, but the pitya is tattered, burned, tossed, torn, broken glass, mashed, broken, sometimes Murti and the hand is broken. According to Vastu Shastra, we're going to talk about Vastu just now. Those types of murtis are not to be worshipped, it's not to be used. For this reason, I always guide people, it is better we get solid, strong murtis. Things that can't break, things that hold. It is nice, these figurative things that we make now with technology. But the problem comes from a litter standpoint. What to do with a murti when it is broken, when it is damaged and it's plastic. In Trinidad, we have something called the Mosquito Creek. Go and see what people do when you're passing on the side of the road. When they just take mother after worshipping mother for long, go in the river and it comes back on the shore. Everybody wants wonderful Ganesh Murti. Everybody's bringing in Murti from India. It looks so nice. Go Queen Anne Beach on the morning when they're doing the Visarjan and see how many end up back on the shore. For those people, I was explaining to the members here in the temple, you do Mati Kurna to go and beg Mother Earth for her son. You get the mud and you make a murti. You got the murti from the mud, but you're taking her back to salt water to return something to the salt water that you never got there. You're doing it incorrect. And then when the current of the water brings it back out, oh, look what the Hindu is doing to the seashore now. Ganesh Baba is being desecrated. He's being lied on the shore. One year I went and I saw, we started to pick up the old murti to help people just rub, just a little patience. Rub out your murti at least and let it dissolve properly. People from another race, from another religion started to hang their underwear on the hands of Ganesh Baba as he laid now on the shore, trapped in the sand. But who put him there? Who put him there was our people who were worshipping that form. For those temples that wish to do this Ganesh Visarjan, if you have a permanent murti in your temple, please worship that. Don't do things for ego. We have a huge murti coming on the road. Is there a difference between your permanent murti and the temporary murti we buy from India? Those things are just symbols that I have money and I can do a grand murti. No argument, you could do it. But then how do you handle it after? In fact, you're supposed to go to a pond where mud is and return that mud to mud. Mother, look, I brought back your son, please accept him. And everybody take their time and dissolve that murti. She says, don't put those type of images, murtis, the goddess, the Devi in particular. Don't let those things remain on me. The Sangh should never be rested on the earth itself just like that. It must be rested on some cloth or something. When people have their janev and you hear about people just take off the janev and they rest it on the mango tree, when they give up that lifestyle, for those that do those things, she says when the person takes the janev and they allow it to come on the earth, the power of that 96 hand, how do you know the length of the janev? 96 times like this. This is the length for that person. So a person who has a big chest or a big body, their janev might be longer than a person with a smaller frame. When people are making janev for murti, That is how you know the length or the size of the journey. He says, don't let these things be discarded just like that. The last thing, let's hear what he says. Gauro chana chana ye shala tat par ye naam ki shila ye naamat ye uvach parha ye tam chakroyate
Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam
Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. He says, for the person who knows about making Gorochan is a type of chandan that looks yellow. But how does it get that color? You take the urine of the cow. It sounds strange, I know. For the people that don't know about the power of the cow, it will gross you out. I agree. For those that know the power of mother, everything that comes from that cow, the milk, the dahi, the ghee, gobar, and the gaur mutra, or the urine of the cow, has purification powers that is used in prayer. So when people complete Bhagavad, when they complete different type of yag, they take the mud, they take milk, they take white dirt, they take the hawan ashes, they take urine from the cow, and they mix it together, and then they put it on the people that are there. These things purify and protect the person when they're about to do worship. Mother brings forth a child called Maz or Mangal. Tomorrow night I'll read the Katha. The final Devi Katha will be Mangala Gauri. This Mangala form. Varaha listens and he says, Mother, I leave you now. In the Varaha Upapuran, it is when he's leaving, Kush grass comes. Kush grass comes from the Kushi that he brought back from Mother Earth, the happiness that he brings from Mother Earth. And Brahma says, Prabhu, to stand as testament to this form, wherever your foot pressed in this battlefield, Kush happiness bringing grass will remain, will grow and sprout. Whenever we use it, it will be as if Vishnu is in the tip, Shiva is in the middle of that grass, and Brahma is in the root. For this reason, it is used on the finger, underneath the seat, the ladle that sprinkles the water. It purifies. That is why when you go funeral, what's underneath the box? You'll see it there. In the coffin, it is there. In the wedding, it is used. In the havan, it is used. Lord Vishnu says, the person who does your worship of Mother Earth in the form of Vasundhara, the one who takes the weight of a person, you will gain blessings. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. In a different discourse, this Mother Earth has so many names. Vasundhara here in Devi Bhagavad. Vastu in a different Sastra. Dharti, Di, Prithvi, Bhumi, all of them, same name. If I tell you Lord Shiva has many names, you'll understand. The same applies to Mother. In that Vastu Sastra, Brahma, when he makes the sun and the moon and he falls asleep, from the nostril, from the hot air, comes a Devta called Vastu. But he is so hungry, he's born with that heat, he starts to eat everything. And Brahma gets up and he says, no, you can't eat everything. What are you doing? I now created this. He says, Father, I'm your son and I'm hungry. All the Devtas, Vishnu, Agni, all of them take for children to understand, a mosquito net, a fisherman's net, and they take him and they fight him and they pull him to the earth and they pin him to the earth. When you hear people talk about, I want to tie the land, Baba, what they tying? Cow and goat? No devotees. What they tying is, imagine the all of the land. According to Vastu Sastra, there's a monster Vastu living in that land. And we want to tie the net to secure him, to lock him. We worship the Devtas in the different corners. Vishnu is in the north, Agni is in the south, etc. Depending on which Devta, this is the Sastra that says, I put my Jandi in the northeast corner, I put my kitchen in the southeast corner. When people consult the Vastu to know how to build their home, how to fix their home. When your front door is facing to the south, put palm plant, put mirrors on the front door, and you will see change, less argument, less sickness, etc. Vastu Sastra does that. At the end of that discourse, Vastu says, Lord Vishnu, before you move off, let me ask you something. You and I are devatas alike. I have rights. I came from the body of Brahma. You have trapped me here. Literally, he's like this, locked to the earth. He says, I am very hungry, oh brother. Where will I get food? Where will I eat? Lord Vishnu says, please listen, everybody, listen to this. He says, you eat whatever people offer on the land. Do you do that? I offer when I do Durga Puja, it is Palapsi and Sahari by the flag. I don't know if you do it. The logic is, please, you who live in the land, eat this. Don't eat me. Don't eat the family. Why are you saying that, Baba? The next question, he says, Lord Vishnu, suppose, I understand if they offer stuff, good. When they're doing Shrad and they're taking out the food and we just take out a little pinch, a roti and chana and pumpkin and they just collect that. Let that go on the earth. We just take out shares of food. One is for the earth. Good. Suppose they don't take out anything. Suppose they don't offer anything. He says, okay, in that case, Vastu, you eat the people. Eat what? Their health. Eat their happiness. Eat, last time we talked about Lakshmi, eat their barakat. When people take out food for the land, or what we call, for our local words, Puja. The offering could be sweet rice, fruits. It could be salt food, sada roti, tomatoes, chuka. But I am trying to feed you, dear mother. Please eat something. Eat it and allow me to flourish. Allow me to have, bless the garden, bless my home, bless my business. These things are integral. He says, for the person who worships you, O Mother Earth, using this as one example, say Om. Everybody, Om, Hring, Shring, Kling, Vasundara, Divyai, Nama. Let all their storehouses of grains in their house, let them have food. Let them have all the merit, the yajna, let it come full, let it come whole. Let the karampal of all the goodness of their karma, let them receive it. Mother, wherever this is done, let people always be happy. Jaya 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 Dharani Jala He Shila Jala He Pradana Yagya Sansad Jala He Jaya Jaya Vasundara Mangale Mangala Mangalam Mangala Pradana Mangala Dehi Dehi Bhavani Mata Sarvadharana Dhar Dharani Vasundara Mata Shri Prithvi Jai Jai Varahi Mata Principal Adi Shakti Mata Ki Jai. Tonight please understand that because the lady looks, if you see that murti, because she looked like a animal, doesn't mean she wants an animal. Now as people are learning of their Dharma, and when I say Dharma, I mean Sattvic prayer. People are changing from Tamasic prayer to Sattvic prayer. From animal worship, slowly people are coming more and more to the offerings of sweet rice, calm, cool offerings of fruits, etc. So that the offering is the same, but it is made in a different way. For this reason, the offering of coconuts is proliferating now amongst Hinduism. Why? The same way you used to cut off the animal head and give the life, the coconut has the ability to grow into a true plant. And the same Shakti that lived in the animal is living in the seed. And this is why in today's prayer, you will see them Sunday morning, you will see them offer the coconut into the fire. Mother, may you please accept this energy, this Shakti, this life as it were. But no animal has to die. Blood does not have to spill for this to happen. It does not have a repercussion to it. And this is why these things are being done. For people that are transitioning from unclean to clean worship, there are many capable people that could assist your family in that journey. And there are ways and there are things that we do to assist our own selves when doing puja. And this deep puja, this offering that is done not only once for the year, brother, just as a person could get up every Friday and offer a dar, likewise, mother, may you please accept, we have apple in the fridge today. Mother, we have a pineapple today. Mother, we have sweet rice today. Mother, please accept something. Mother Earth, I could feed you every day. Mother Earth, I could give you something every day. Please accept it and allow the foot to heal. Allow my head to feel better. Mother, I have menopause and I am feeling like the room is study spinning. Baba, what to do? Take a coconut and offer it on the earth. Mother, please accept it and bless me with a little equilibrium in my life. When this is done, health and happiness balance. The vastu does not interfere with a home. There are many people that have problems, but they don't know how to come out of the problem. Instead, they just follow the they say and the them say Puran. I hear they say. I hear them said. No link to our text. No following of our scripture. What does our Gita say? Follow your scriptural injunction, and that is sattvic prayer. But when I hear Tanti up the road say you could do so, and uncle say, but don't worry, when you have mommy, it is use Tanti. When you have palm leaf, you can use yam leaf, and that's good for you. All right. Then it is reached by Pundit not too long after. Baba, we seen trouble boy. And now the Pundit had to come like the magician to show you how to stop doing damage to yourself. Dharti Puja is an example of how people in the Hindu circle cause their own trouble. Because when you offer things that are unclean, and you start to see problems in your skin, you start to see problems with your children, you want to know who doing me obia. Sometimes you're doing it to yourself. Because karma is what you sow, so it is reap. So when you doing, you see that Vam Chara Puja what I talk about? If you see people have Lord Shiva upside down like this, and different type of negative prayer, well then expect one day that negative will come back to you. Pray with Lord Shiva like this, with a white flag, a green flag, an orange flag for Shankar Bhagwan when he's sitting, when he's like this, green flag, when he's dancing, red flag, when he's in the lingam form, white flag, everything in that white color. When you do that type of sattvic prayer, sattvicness will follow you. Tonight, please remember the mantra, Om, Hring, Shring, Kling, Vasundara, Divyai, Swaha. So Baba, here's something about salt, biscuit and butter. Last point here, before I go. Watch how Hindu people is follow people. Have you ever used salt, butter in your puja? But we use it when we do deep puja. And where it came from was the Spaniards that were the owners of the ships that brought us in some instances. Spanish people that landed in Trinidad, people that still live in Marac and parts of Maruga, they do worship for the land. Baptists do worship for the land. Orisha do worship for the land. And in their method, they use salt, biscuit and salt butter because that is what survived on the ship. Roti and rice could not live, there's no fridge. But the salt, biscuit, and for the elders here, the biscuit, the butter that used to come in the tin that would not melt. Heavily salted butter was all they had, so they would butter it, they would roll the tobacco, and they would give the spirit that they are praying to something to pull on and something to eat. Do Hindus use that type of worship? Unless you're praying and you're using spirit worship. You know in Gita it does talk about that. Those that worship the devatas will go to the devatas. Those that worship the spirit will go to the spirit. The boot. There are people that do that type of worship. And Hindus use the Bajrang Ban and Hanuman Kavach to protect themselves from that type of worship. But when people say the land want that, the land didn't say want that, brother. The land said according to this chapter, chapter 9. Now in chapter 9, book 9 of the Devi Bhagavad, Mother says, give me sattvic offerings. Give me those offerings that you could afford. So if on the tree you have papoy, that is where you have to feed Mother. If you have the money for one cucumber, that is where you feed Mother. And that type of positive, that type of fruit that has so many seeds, that has the potential energy to grow into plants, that potential energy will follow you and you would have the blessing. But when people use negative methods and negative mentality, when people use low type of offerings, then you're only going to get that type of help that has certain drawback state. I am not saying people who offer blood and offer that mode of prayer don't get blessing. You know. God did say, offer me anything and I'll accept it. They do see their way, but don't stop that praise. Once you don't stop it, you are good, you know. You will hear people have to offer human. Some people have to offer one of the pregnancies. They will charhawe. Listen to me. I promise I will give a life from my family. And you will see in the family, everybody is having one miscarriage. The first child is a miscarriage. Those things are done, it is real. But when you follow that method of prayer, there comes a time when if you don't do it, everybody will have miscarriage. Nobody will be able to keep children. And the family starts to die off. Those that carry the name, the male members, the girls live, you know. They get married and they go into different households. God bless them. But the boys, one by one, they start to fall like flies. And very quickly, we have to go and do corrective type prayer to fix them. In this Kalyuk, we have to strive to be more sattvic. When people surround you with their negativity and their negativeness, please touch the earth. The Hindu, what is the lesson here tonight? If just when you are leaving in the morning, you make the habit of just bowing to that mud. When you jump off the bed, do you know the first thing you're supposed to do as a Hindu is bow to the floor you are standing on? And now you know why. Mother says, I support you. Unless you're sleeping on the bed with shoes. When you jump off, your feet make that contact. And whatever is your problem, Mother, are going today. Mother, are going to work today. Mother, bless me to come home. For every parent here tonight, for those of you looking on at home, do you let your children bow to the earth? Do you let your children honor the earth? Last time we talked about the temple here, shrine recycling. In my ashram at home, we are doing beach cleanup and river cleanup. Do you litter on the earth? Watch how Hindu people stop here. I saw it in a Facebook video. Worship Mother Earth and the baby. Jai Ma Kali. Jai Mother. And then when they go by the river to empty all the press stuff, Pundit Sunil, the people put the bag to. Mother holiday. People just throw all the Sahari leaf in the river. They just throw the stove in the river. Why would you throw a stove in a river? I'll never understand that. People just throw chair. Up on my side, there's a particular river people go to just feed the fish grains and so on. When they do the puja and people from other religion come to desecrate. They throw foul guts and things from chicken farms just to throw off the Hindu prayer. Our Hinduism have enough challenge, enough enemies attacking our places of worship. Last time we talked about how people uproot the flag, desecrate the places where we go to do our offering. See, we lighting there for Diwali. Diwali now is not what it used to be. How many people could still light there by the road? If you can, God bless you. Why would you then add to that? Mother Earth is very clear under some distress. We call it climate change. We watch these rainy seasons. How the rain falling? Did you hear the description where she says the rivers will dry? And when the rain starts to come, it will come in a way that it will only bring destruction. So then why not do our part to help her? Because as that lady calls on Lord Vishnu, we're done. That is what she said tonight. Why not change and do the prayers? Fine, very good. But live it too. Tonight, dear Hindus, as you go home, if you don't remember anything we talked about, remember, please get up in the morning. And when you're leaving, bow to that land, bow to that mother before you leave. You think you could do that? Will you do that? Sound good, you know, it's a nice story. But you know what people are going to do that? Sad to say. And that is what makes it Kalyuk. There is the Kalyuk. If these secrets are kept in the book, if the Ganga is still flowing on the earth, dear Lord, why do we have so much trouble? Because the people become very lazy. The people is what bring the Kalyuk. People is the darkness. Does the river make the litter for itself? For example? No. We begged last night right here in the temple, use the bin to recycle the plastic bottle. And for some people, oh God, that was hard. The people is the problem. When people talk about Kalyuk and the signs at the time, the girl who died from KFC and the fishermen on the sea, who do that? You see? Maybe the KFC. But the place is overrun by bandits, just where we book saying. But to get up and pray hard. To get up and learn. You know what people will say, Baba, you know, I still don't have a kavach on my neck. I still don't have my guard in my house. I still don't know my Dharma. If your Dharma is there to protect you, and there's a saying, you protect your Dharma protect you. And you still don't know that? You still living as a stranger to your mother? Then you are your problem. We live in a time, watch, look, Uncle Ramesh here with the camera, whole week he recorded. Yagna blazing on everybody's phone. The camera phone taking better video than your eyes could take in reality. You're seeing it better when you're there home. But still we don't know we religion. Still we're not practicing we religion. This yagna will done and everybody will go home. And the question comes, how much will people remember to practice? How much will you do? How much will you change? Every day when you complain, look how the place come in. Look how dirty the place is. Do you plant flowers in your yard? How many people have a tulsi plant in their yard? You're what? You're the Hindu. You're what you leave for the prayers. But you have one flowers. But then when you go to class, when people like Professor Adish come and they talk about how the sugar bees, the honey bees are dying off. Ask any honey, I forget what you call them, the beekeepers. Ask them the problem that we had last year with bees. The weather was so arid, it was so dry. The bees did not make honey. Less and less honey is being made in the world. Without bees to cross-pollinate, without butterflies to pollinate plants and things, how will crops come? Trinidad is already in a position, one bad flood, and we have no food. We import food from other places. Look at where you are living and what you are doing to help yourself. What do? Do you add to the world? Do you add to the weight? Do you add to the load? Or are you helping? Imagine every child that plant a flowering plant. Join with me. I'll send a message on Sankhya. When we, at least in our little group, go to the beach, every Sunday morning when you're begging people to come to temple, they don't want to come. But let me go on the beach and line, they'll do that. So let me go on the beach and line. And for 1 hour, we'll scrape the beach. We'll clean the river and make it in that line. We'll cook and do some good work. On a Sunday evening, I take time to go on the hospital ward. You want to go with me? Come. Let me go and take a case of water. I usually walk with about 10 cases of water and give churn it. And let them just give it out. We don't want money. Sometimes on those wards, mothers are going to see their children. People lie down in the hospital bed, can't get water sometimes. And they're so happy to just get a drink of water. Think about the blessing you get. For those people that have young girls and young boys, we were supposed to do a play tonight. And I was very tired, so I couldn't do it. I'll do it tomorrow. When you have young girls and young boys giving trouble, bring them for me and let's go on the hospital ward and let me go and stand up by the beds and pray. And let's help lessen the load of some people. Stop wasting time. Our little group is trying, with the support of all the different corporation and everybody. Let me take palm trees, like how, long time in Brechin Castle, St. Martin used to have these huge palm trees side the road. What about if we start back to plant trees so that the oxygen, when you put on your TV and they talk about changing the amount of carbon dioxide, what about if Hindus start to help plant the right type of plants to help Mother Earth? Say again? The time for that will come soon enough. When we get the opportunity, there's a statement that says, the hands that work are better than the lips that pray. In this age of Kalyuk, seva is very important. That type of seva is needed now to help people. And I encourage those people that are listening here tonight to don't let this just be a story, but let it be a wake-up call. And let the Hindu people stop causing trouble to the earth and start to help Mother in our little way, in our own little way, whatever we could afford. To clean doesn't cost money. I don't need the government to help me clean the place. I could clean for myself. To clean, I could do that. I could go and clean my drain. I could go and clean. Those tell me that the government work. When the mosquito bite you, is you who go dead. We need to change our attitude, and we could do more. And with that productivity, we could get more out of this place. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai.